welcome everyone to our Talent Talk series. Today I am joined by Danielle Harmer, the CPO from Aviva. I think before we get started, it'd be really great for you to tell us a little bit about you, who you are, and what you do.
Yeah. So Danielle Harmer, currently Chief People Officer at Aviva. Only came into HR only 16 years ago. There are going to be young people listening to this going, only 16 years ago. Came into HR 16 years ago, and I am very grateful to the boss who gave, my boss at the time, who gave me my first opportunity in an HR job. And I was fascinated by the difference people make to the performance of a business. And I know that might sound obvious, but I think sometimes people forget that's actually what our profession is about. And yes, of course we look after them and we do the right, but it's not just about sort of employment law and the administrative stuff. It's how can you transform the performance of a business through people?
Yes.
Is the most magnificently broad and fascinating question.
It's brilliant, isn't it? It's absolutely brilliant. Thank you. So as you said, you've been in the financial services sector for a reasonable amount of time, and and I believe that financial services was almost one of the first sectors to embrace the business partner role, the HR business partner role. So for you, what would you say is true business partnering? What is a true HR business partner look like?
I think the most important thing about an HR business partner, the really good ones that I see, is that they're commercial. So they understand the business is the first thing, because what you should be doing is working out what the business needs to achieve and then aligning HR interventions, people interventions to that. Yeah. If you just hold the expert knowledge of our profession without the commercialism, why?
Yeah.
Right. You could go in the wrong direction with stuff. I think, we operate a lot in the grey, so you need to be able to deal with ambiguity. You need to be able to consult with and influence often more senior people than you. Generally, the way the partner relationship works is you're partnering somebody who's more senior. And I think that the sort of, one of the key skills within that is great partners have a relationship with the person they're supporting, where the person comes to them with a problem, not with a solution. Yeah. So you've got to be proactive. You need to have a relationship with somebody where they say to you, I've got a problem and I don't know how to deal with it. Because as soon as the people you're supporting, challenging, coaching, come to you and say, I want to do this, and it might not be, in your view, that the best thing to do, you're having to get them back from a kind of mindset and a position. So I think it's a blend of all of those skills.
Definitely. And a lot of that's communication and relationships.
Yeah.
And suppose, how does somebody, and I haven't prepped you for this question now because I'm going off on one, how does someone, develop themselves to be better at communicating and building relationships up and being more commercial? What can they do to do
so
that?
The commercial side of things, I mean, I spent, as I said to you, a number of years in the business. I think at some point in your career, if you want to be really good at this, you need to go and be a customer of HR and go and do a different kind of job and understand what it feels like to receive our service, challenge, support. I think the other thing is to have a boss, a mentor, support who, that, lots of times I will role play stuff with people. The oldest are always the best. And just say, okay, so you're going to go and have what you think might be a tricky conversation with somebody. What are you going to say to them? And being able to support, as hopefully the support, you need to find someone who can support you and go, I'm not sure how they're going to respond to that. Turn statements into questions is a really good tip, right? If somebody says, can I do X? Always say yes, because they can, right? You can do anything. The question is, what is it? Get them back to what is it that you want to achieve? You can do that. That could produce quite an interesting outcome. So let's just get you back to let's get back to the problem. what is it that you want to achieve? And if you think that a conversation isn't going well, or you're a bit stumped with how to support somebody, or it's kind of, there's a sort of breakdown in communication, always be prepared to say, can I go away and I'll come back to you on it?
Yes, yeah, you don't have to have the answer immediately.
Yeah.
It sounds like that those coaching questions are almost quite key from a developmental perspective, is to understand how to ask questions of people rather than always trying to give people the answers. To get the customer on board. No, that's great. Sorry, I threw that in at you there.
You're welcome.
So I think commerciality, relationships, that's what we're talking about here. So moving on from there, what do you think? I mean, gosh, we've had some crazy last few months, but what do you think HR really need to be thinking about for the next 12 months? What do you think are the key initiatives that will be happening?
So I think the first one is to consider, how is business changing? And we've had a global pandemic, so that will have had some impact, but also people have been working in very different ways. So I think collaboration and innovation in some organizations may have slowed down, because when you're working through a screen and people aren't physically together, that might not help. So there's something about businesses just getting back on track, and us enabling businesses to get back on track and think about, right, how are customers changing? How are employees changing? How are markets changing? What innovation is available? What's there digitally? What does the business need to do, and how do we enable it? How do we enable it? Product demands, because of the way customers have interacted with businesses that provide them with goods and services. Behaviors have changed. What does that mean for businesses, and how do they adapt? And therefore, what skills and capabilities do the workforce who supply those those businesses, what needs to change? So I think we absolutely need to think about that. The second thing is, and again, COVID has definitely been a catalyst for this. How are people going to work? Not going to work, but going to do work. There's a lot of talk about home working. I think people are getting overly hung up on the location and are not thinking about what the flexibility and change in location has enabled from a working pattern perspective. And the fact that actually, maybe if you think that your business can employ people who don't need to be in the office, where did you used to look for your talent, and where can you look for it now? And people with caring responsibilities who you might have struggled to employ, but they had great skill sets that you'd love to use in your business. Well, if the work for your business can be done effectively for both the customers and the colleagues and the organisation in a different location, well then, we're accessing sort of different talent pools in different locations. So I think, those workforce of the future, how people are going to work, what businesses need, what skills they need. We have all, I think, globally had a wake-up call on inclusion, especially around the Black Lives Matter agenda. So we're all seeing into each other's homes. I mean, I'm in the office today, and I know exactly where you are. I'm very jealous of you on your gorgeous boat. You should do a tour one day on one of these. You should give people a tour. So there is something really important about our humanity, and how that's, how we've seen us at our best and us at our worst. And making sure that we do not let how we've learned about each other working in this way, and how I think the dawning on many people, what I've learned about seeing the world from someone else's perspective, and certainly members of the Black community and the challenges they've faced in their lives, really important. So I think those, we should all have those things on our agenda for sure.
Absolutely. No.
The other thing is, most businesses have struggled from a financial perspective because of the impact of the economy on COVID. So being able to manage costs really well is just that's kind of entry level requirement for anyone who's working in an organisation.
Yeah, definitely. No, that's brilliant. Thank you. So just to finish things off, we have a number of aspiring CPOs in our network. So tell us a bit about, or give us maybe some advice to those guys, the really ambitious HR professionals out there that are keen to be sitting in your seat one day. What should they be doing?
I think know what kind of, know who you are, know what your passion is in the HR landscape. I mean, my passion, it's back to what I do, is how you can transform a business and how it performs and the service it provides and how it innovates and what it does for its customers and colleagues and shareholders. Through it all starts with individuals. So how do you build and interventions that create the output that's great for the business, its customers, colleagues in it? And it's just the most fascinating landscape. So I think the first thing is understand what you stand for and be passionate about it, in it, around it, and share ideas both on it. The second thing to remember is that once you're doing a CPO job, you're a leader too. So make sure you're developing your leadership skills. Have some fantastic mentors that you can call on to support you. And, again, read, watch TED Talks, whatever works, but be learning all the time. Communication skills are really important, as we've talked about. Find a way to be able to communicate in a sensible way through all of the thorny issues that will come across. Be a great partner, a sort of critical friend. And then finally, as a CPO, the board relationship, the REMCO responsibilities, governance, if you're in financial services, the regulatory aspect of what you do, they're quite tricky to get experience of until you're doing the job. So find a way, either by talking to people like me, or if you've got subsidiary boards in your organisation, or if you can be a school governor or get onto the board of a charity, start to get into that and understand how you can support a board as well and be that real objective voice.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you so much. That's been absolutely amazing. I'm looking forward to sharing it with the network, and I'll maybe tour with the boat another time.
You definitely should. Jenny, lovely to see you.
Thank you. You too. That's great. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.